Weeks after being released from immigration detention, Palestinian activist and former Columbia student Khalil is now filing an administrative complaint against the Trump administration, seeking $20 million in damages. This comes as a federal judge ruled it would be, quote, highly unusual for the government to continue the detainment of a legal U.S. resident who was unlikely to flee and hadn't been accused of any violence. Now, after his release, Khalil raised objections to President Trump's enforcement efforts.
We are joined again by our chief legal analyst, Khalil Rhodes. Khalil, so he's suing for false arrest, defamation, emotional stress. He really just wants an apology. So when you look at this, like, what standard does someone have to meet for a case like this to move forward?
Federal Tort Claim Relief Act, that's FTCA. That's what folks would bring these claims under. I mean, it's pretty clear intentional or negligent restraint of their liberty. And so the main portion is you'd basically have to prove a couple of things. He'd have to prove that, that the government attempted to detain him in that a detention occurred. Well, we know it occurred. He was in there for 3 months. He was just released in June. That it was carried out by federal officials. We know that the government took him. It wasn't someone on the local level. There was no valid legal authority to detain him or justify it. I mean, the judge talked about there's no valid reason to keep this person that hasn't committed a crime. The detention violated a constitutional right, and that there are some type of damages. That's going to be the question. Did they violate his free speech? His attorneys will make that argument that most of the things that the Trump administration grabbed him for was that he was anti-American, that his anti-American or pro-jihadist activity. It's a double-sworded question, I guess, when they say he's being anti-American, because part of being American is your ability to have free speech and to say and speak and do things that you want to that may be different than what other folks do or say or think. And so to be able to say that's the reason that you targeted him and the reason that you wanted him to be removed, not because he was blowing up buildings, not because he was even, suggesting that other folks do that, but he was speaking on behalf of folks that he believed have been wronged at a public institution where you think that that's where you would encourage that type of activity. But that's what the charge was. And that's what the allegations are. And that's why we find ourselves now here 3 months later with him suing, because I don't see the justification for that, as the judge didn't see a justification for holding him.
Well, so where do you see this case going after this lawsuit being filed for, again, $20 million? That's no small amount.
I obviously think that the Trump administration will fight this because they don't want to see a case like this win. You don't want to have a trickle-down effect of folks saying, hey, I've been wrongfully detained. But I think his situation is an outlier. While they were a rush to attempt to try to deport as many folks as they could, and the original process during the Trump administration was, we're going to deport illegal activity, people that are here that are committing crimes, right, that have come here illegally. Well, he fell into the crosshairs and did none of those things. He was here illegally. He was just legally in the country, doing a legally justified activity, protest, which is like our foundation of how we were founded as a country. And then he was extremely highly educated. Everyone else won't fall into that box. And I think that's why he said that as well. I'm still under threat of deportation. Yeah, I'm suing for an apology, but also these funds will go to help other activists that don't have a voice, people that aren't similarly situated to me. So it's a double approach as well for that, where he's suing not just for himself, but for other folks.
So again, do you think the likelihood that Khalil will succeed in his request to get $20 million in damages from the Trump administration, and following up on that, if he does, what message does that send to everybody else?
A couple things. I think first you file a complaint, right, and then the government has an opportunity to respond. Under this Federal Tort Claim Act, it's pretty straightforward in terms of the approach. They'll have an answer. Their answer will be, look, we were justified in our detention. We didn't violate any constitutional rules. They'll give the normal response. And then they'll ask for a summary disposition, basically asking the court to dismiss the case because he's failed to be able to meet the burden. I think he makes it past summary disposition. They go through the entire process of attempting to figure out what that looks like at trial. Under normal situations, the government would settle in a case like this. I just don't think this administration would do that. I think it would be too negative for them to lose a case in that manner. This one goes the distance unless they attempt to remove him or deport him before that.
All right, maybe not the end that we've heard of this. Khalil, thanks. Appreciate that.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.